so I'd like to give you an overview of week one in our course because since my last recording, a few things have changed, I think for the better. So I want to give you that overview and get you started on the right foot. So before I do that on the course, I do want to say, and I'm going to switch here to Firefox real quick, is that since my last recording, the campus has changed the login, and it's still, you use the same credentials, meaning the same login you did before. It looks a little different, so don't let that throw you off. But this is the way you log in to Canvas, okay? And if you're not sure what those login credentials are, which means you haven't gotten into Canvas yet, now is the time, is what I would say to you, right? So I'll send out another email with this, but just to let you know, becoming a student, signing up right here. So this gives you the information on what you need to log into Canvas with right here. So make sure you're following that. Let me just zoom in a little bit, right? So your 7-digit ID number, and then here's your password if you have not previously changed it. So really, really, really important. Take care of that. Okay, so now let me move over to our course and talk about the week one. So here I am at the course, and I'm looking at the course as an instructor. So I'm going to move to a student view, but I want you to see what I've started to implement is what's called prerequisites for each item in our class, which means you have to go in order. Okay, and there's other reasons I'll show you in a minute starting in week two what this means. So let me just switch real quick so you can see what I see, or I can see what you see actually, more appropriately. So from a student view, what you will have here is now you will see week one and week two and week zero, of course. I didn't block this one. And what you have to do is you need to move through the items in sequence, okay? So the Get Ready was just a series of videos that I had done, the two that I had done already, and I definitely say you need to watch those, okay? So now I'm going to go back to home. There's no prerequisite for this, but in questions, and I had just put this out there as do you have any questions, but now it actually is a prerequisite, so you have to get through here. And I just did it so for Patrick and for Sarah, who already contributed here, you just have to post something, okay? You post something. Now once you post that something, as a matter of fact, let me just show you what I mean. Okay, so let's be clear here. I'm going to go back to home. So this shows I have to contribute. Okay, now this is probably the only time we use the contribute. From here on out is you actually have to submit something, okay? So I'm going to go into questions, and for me to unlock the next item in the sequence, right? And I'm just going to do testing for unlocking, just to give you the idea. Yes, I can spell. Okay. Now again, I'm in a student view. I'm just going to post the reply. So you might have something better than that to say. You may have a question before we get started, whatever that is. But what I want to show you is now that you've done that, right? Now what you have is you can see week one. The thing is, you can only see classwork day one. Let me be clear as I'm talking about this whole prerequisite thing. You absolutely have to show up day one, okay? Because in order for this class to make, we have to have 14 people. And right now, 14 people are on the register, okay? So please, please, please make sure you show up the first day. Now you're going to wonder, why am I talking about this? Because the way I've set this class up, there is a way you can do work at home. And the reason is I've had several people ask me to run this class as a hybrid / online class. And that's allowed us to get a little more enrollment. And I want to give this flexibility to everyone. Really, I don't want to just give this to a few. Okay, so I know I sidetracked there for a limit, so now let me come around. So now on day one, we will have a discussion in class, okay, about YJS, which is a little bit of what actually is already in week zero for, why study JavaScript. And this video, really, really great. Don't feel intimidated if some of the terms he uses don't make sense. That could be something we talk about in class, right? So if for chance, right, you wanted to go ahead and play around, all you have to do here is create an index.html. Again, I'd tell you to just do this in class with us, okay? So, but if for some reason you just wanted to play around before to see how this prerequisite thing worked, you could do that. And if you were going to do that, you would need to create your index file. I don't even require an external CSS file. You could embed your CSS if you wanted it. This is really only notes. And what you would need to do if you were doing it before we get to class is take notes on the week 0 and take notes on this item. Okay, so then once you do that, you just go into submit, and then this will be the only time you actually upload a file into Canvas because from here on out, right, and actually even starting in the next classwork, you will need to actually put in your GitHub repos. But let me just show you, right? 'Cause again, this will be the only time you do that. And I was going to say, do I have an actual, let's just see, right? So I'm going to choose a file. Again, this is just showing you how this works. Thought I saw earlier on my desktop because I was playing around with something. I had just an index.html because that's the kind of file you would want to submit. Sorry, here. Let me find just something real quick. There we go. There's an index file, index.html file in here. I know there is. So that's always the first file, generally the first file you create for a website. So now once I've done this, and again I'm just showing you for purposes, once I submit it I want to show you the difference now between what happens. So now that that's submitted, right, you've turned it on it again. I know I'm emphasizing this, but you need to come to day 1, okay? And really you need to come in general, and you'll see why I say this in a minute. So I could go to the next here, but what I want to show you is I'm going to go back to home. And now what happens is that that's complete, and now I can see homework, right? So this first week is kind of different, and generally what happens is starting in week 2 you won't actually see classwork until you've done some little pre-work, and I'll talk about that. So this first week is a little different. So let me just show you for homework before the start of day 2. Here's what you need to do. It should be relatively easy. Homework is due before the start of class. Okay, so for anyone that couldn't make it to class that day, they would need to make sure they've submitted it before this time, okay? So set up your Gmail account, set up your GitHub. You can use your Gmail as your GitHub account. Set up your Free Code Camp account. You can, again here, use your Gmail account or your GitHub account for that. Complete the first 10 items on Free Code Camp. So let me just show you Free Code Camp. I should have already had this up, but I didn't. No big deal. Right, so you go in here, you create your account, right? I've actually already got an account. Interesting, they've actually removed, when I set mine up, I ended up using my Gmail account. Now they've kind of hidden this away a little bit. I think they're really trying to encourage people to use their GitHub accounts, which is totally cool with me as well, right? So what you would need to do here is complete the first 10 here, all right? Now, let's go back here. Sorry, shouldn't have done that. Okay, so there we go. Complete the first 10 there, and start and watch this really great video from Todd, or wherever you want to get it on GitHub, or on Git, not GitHub. Right, Git is the version control. We're going to have repos that are private local education, or not local, but private education accounts. And you will have all of your code for this class placed into a private repo. Okay, so Todd doesn't go over the private repo, but he does go over here how to do basic Git commands, right? So then on Thursday, right, and I'm just saying this here, as you come to class prepared with whatever you're going to create or use for your repo, your local repo, and that could be a flash drive, and that's a video I'm going to produce probably here today about how to do that, right? So on Thursday, really important day, is come prepared to create the course repo. Now, in order for me to create my side of it, I have to know what your GitHub account is, right? So what you want to do here is, once you're done, right, is just tell me you've created your account. So tell me the names in this case, of your account. So your Gmail account, right? And then your GitHub account, and then if you're using GitHub for free code camp, tell me that, and then tell me if you've completed the first 10 items in free code camp, and then if you've watched these videos. Okay, so that's all you have to do for that item. Okay, again, week one is kind of different. I'm just gonna oh, hang on, sorry, stay here. What I didn't do, very good, was I didn't submit, right? Gotta submit the item. Okay. So now that gets us all the way into the classwork. Now again, it unlocks, and this is, I'm really showing you to show you the process. So now here is what we're going to do. Not a big surprise, right? This is what we're going to do, and I recommend you come to class to do this, okay? And so I would need your GitHub account in order to create your, because I have to create the repositories, and then we'll go over that. Anyway, so this is what we would do on this day. So from on this assignment, really important, this is where I'm going to end this particular video. What will come out of this is a link, right, to your GitHub repo. Okay, and this is what you will end up using starting in week 2 to get into items, meaning get into classwork. So just preview week 2, and I'm not going to go over it in detail here. You have homework. Again, you have to have completed this, right? Everything is in sequence now. And I really like this idea because it really makes sense to me. And there may be some issues we have to deal with, and we'll figure that out. But I'm just showing you in this video how it works. And I will end with, I promise, this concept is now starting in week 2, before you can do classwork, you have to set up your file, because classwork from here on out is really intended for you to do on your own. Right, we're taking the idea, and I've already mentioned this, is how well did the homework translate into you learning? So if for some reason you're not in class, you have to complete the classwork before our start of class for you to get the points. In order to do that, you have to set up your file. Again, there'll be a video for this, and I'll figure out a way to make it again. I'll probably put it in week 0 here today so that you can see how this will work, this pre-classwork item. All right, hope that helps you out. I'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you the first day of class, right? And with that, make sure you come to class, because we need 14 to make this thing go. All right.